He always does.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now live. Welcome to A Conversation with, and I am your host, Floyd Marshall Jr. And as always, I am joined by my amazing and extraordinary co host, Okema T Moore. And today, I am so excited to be talking to two absolutely amazingly dynamic Black women about an award winning podcast drama called Red for Revolution. So today we are joined by none other than Jana Naomi Smith and Renee Wilson. And I'm just going to read a little bit of their bios so we get a small insight into who these amazing women are. Renee Wilson is an award winning director, writer, producer, performer, and recording artist whose work explores lineage, liberation, and the inner lives of women through film, theater, audio, storytelling, and music. A proud native of New Orleans, she made her feature acting debut portraying Raylette Paul Lyle in the Academy Award winning film Ray, and has since built a multidisciplinary creative practice rooted in intimate character driven storytelling. She directed and co-produced the documentary Crepe Covered Sidewalks, a portrait of New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, which was the centerpiece of the New Orleans International Human Rights Film Festival. The film later earned her a Best New Filmmaker award. Her short film, Ode to Joy, a meditation on women's generativity, ancestry, and the natural world, won the Audience Award for Stunning Short Film at the Maui Film Festival, and her work has also been recognized with the BAVC and Real Stories Triple Threat Award, and she was named a Jewish Film Institute filmmaker in residence. And Renee is also the executive producer and lead actress for Red Revolution, a Tribeca winning narrative, Grammy consideration, and so many other things. We're gonna jump into that. And she is also an amazing singer, and I am not just saying that. Her voice is unbelievable. She just released her album, Divine Ratio of Love, a soulful cinematic album that extends her storytelling practice into music. And through her production company, Mana Media, Renee amplifies untold stories, champions dynamic creatives, and produces transformative work that celebrates and serves our collective humanity. Now, Miss Jana Naomi Smith is a Gary, Indiana bred interdisciplinary writer, filmmaker, and cultural worker. She is the writer, director behind the Tribeca Film Festival award winning drama, Red for Revolution, a 6-part series exploring love and liberation. And the cast in this movie is absolutely amazing. Jordan Hull, S. Apatha Murkison, Loretta Devine, Rutina Wesley, Renee Wilson, Danny Glover, Jennifer Bills, Ingenue, I hope I said that right, blame it on my head and not my heart if I didn't, Ellis Taylor, Carol Guzman, Vanessa E. Williams, and Alini Ballard, and many more amazing talent. And previously, Jana wrote the podcast Built to Last for American Express, hosted by Elaine Welteroth and featuring Issa Rae and Kimberly Drew. Additionally, she is the creator of the meditation series Relax, Relate, Release, featuring insights from Dr. Maya Angelou, Ruby Dee, Dr. Angela Davis, and others. Jana is the author of the Essence magazine essay, What Would I Say to My Daughter If She Were Assaulted? In 2024, she launched Relatively Conscious, a virtual multimedia space inspired by the wise words of my hero, James Baldwin, that offers community gatherings and craft workshop. These two ladies are absolutely amazing, and it is an absolute honor and a privilege to have the both of you on a conversation with. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, when you hear it read back, you're like, wow, I did all of that. Yeah, that's amazing. And just a little backstory on how I met Renee. We were both at Sundance this past week, and I'm sitting in the Impact Lounge waiting to hear Erica Alexander give her panel. And this amazing young lady walks up to me and just says hello. And I turn around and I was like, oh, well, hello. And she's like, my name is Renee. And I was like, oh, well, my name's Floyd. And then we just got to talking. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, sometimes when you meet people, you feel as though you've known them your entire life. And we talked about, in the course of the conversation sitting there, we talked about energy and how good energy attracts certain people. And it was such a blessing to be sitting there that day. God don't make no mistakes.
No.
I was supposed to meet Renee, and it is such an honor because she is such a beautiful soul. And I've only known her for a week, but again, I felt like I've known her my whole life. And in the course of us talking, we got to talking about the podcast because I told her I was a podcaster along with my co-host Okema T Moore, and we got to talking about her award-winning podcast, Redefine Revolution. And me being me, I said, oh, you got to come on the show and we got to talk about it. And here we are. So what's going on, ladies?
Here we are.
Here we are.
No, thank you. I mean, I felt the same way. It was so easy to talk with you, and we have so many things in common, our interests. And so I'm just really grateful to be here, and that you champion, you know, Black women and filmmakers and audio creators and all the things. So really appreciative. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
No
Now,
worries.
Janae, am I saying your name right? First of all, am I saying it? Jana?
Jana.
Jana,
You had it
okay.
right towards the end there.
Jana,
yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Jana. Make sure I get that right.
No, first of all, congratulations on all the things that you guys have accomplished in your careers thus far. They are no small feats for either one of you. So congratulations respectively. You know, as we watch the entertainment landscape move into this like boom on verticals and blah, 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 we know that audio podcasts and especially narrative podcasts are a big thing. I know for me, I'm also, besides being a director, I'm also an actor, and I'm in a couple of them, Harlem Queen and a few others. And so a good narrative audio podcast is always, you know what I mean? It's always a thing. So congrats on having them for both of you and what you're doing with them. I know the writer, producer of Harlem Queen is a very big fan of the red no, don't let me say it wrong because I will jack up a name. Red for Revolution. Yanni Washington is a big fan of Red for Revolution. So we were talking about it not too long ago. So she will be super psyched to watch this episode.
Oh, we love her. We love
Yes.
Harlem Queen in 1972.
Yes, and we just
Yeah.
did one for the holidays as well. We just did a Christmas one. So, you know, I think that market, what made you go into that market as a storyteller? Because I think a lot of times people like to take storytellers and put us in this place where you can only do film or you can only do, and now everybody kind of does everything good, better, and different depending on who it is. So talk to me a little bit about making that march toward the audio narrative drama.
Yeah, well, thank you both so much for having us, first of all. Let's see. The initial version of Red for Revolution I wrote as a television pilot. And there's no such thing as independent TV. So
But there is, but I know what you mean.
right. You typically need a big studio.
Independent TV that's gonna pay your bills.
Right.
Well, maybe no.
So when HBO and ABC and all those folks, when they're not picking up the phone, I decided to do something that was a bit more accessible. And I felt like I could do on my own in a closet. And then I met Renee, and it turned into something that I didn't have to do on my own in a closet at all. But it really was about sort of wanting to do something accessible and urgent. I got a little impatient at the time and was witnessing a lot of homophobia and transphobia and wanted to artistically address that in some way. And because I couldn't just go into HBO and say, order my series, I decided to, turn it into an audio drama. And I followed the example that was sort of set by a friend of mine, Rachel Jarvis, who created the Lady Lucy audio series. and she did that by herself. And it's a phenomenal period audio show as well. And so she was really the inspiration, and she sat down with me and told me all about, essentially crafting and making an audio drama. But it sort of started with an urgent need to tell a story, and then like, how do I do that in the most accessible way possible? And from there, I got in touch with Renee, and I mean, I'm sure she will be able to tell you a bit more about how she came on board and how we became collaborators. But that's essentially where it started.
Renee.
Yes. When I came along, Red for Revolution already it existed in the world of Jana's zeitgeist. And she actually wrote to me asking if I knew any musicians, because she was going to make this piece in New York. And I said, well, yeah, send me some stuff. And I got to a place where I could sit down and really focus and read everything, and I just couldn't put any of it down. I was just like, it was like page turn to page. I was like, whoa, what happened next? And so that's I just was immediately drawn in to the story and the characters and the world. And I wrote her back that night. I said, this is amazing. I love this. Can I read more? And can I be a part? I don't know if I asked that night, but I was just so floored. I just wanted to be a part of the world more than just like referring her to some musician friends that I knew in New York. And so we got on the phone, and then next thing you know, we became partners, and it started, then it became like this journey to creating the audio drama version of Red for Revolution.
I love it.
So Red for Revolution, in case we did not mention, is up for an AMBY Award. So go vote. It has won at the Tribeca Film Festival. It is up for Grammy consideration in 2 categories: Best Immersive Audio Album, Best Audiobook Narration, and Storytelling Recording. So can the two of you talk about what was the process that got you to that point? And then when you won at Tribeca, and then you find out that you're Grammy considered, what was the feeling like when you guys got that news? What was that like? And being nominated for an AMBY Award as well.
Well, so I just want to, the Grammys were last night.
Okay, and
no. So we were in the first round of consideration. So we never got the nomination. We were up, which was actually the first time that an audio drama, as far as we know, was ever even consideration, or was ever even allowed to be on the ballot, because it is still, to some people, an emerging genre, right? And we really fought to actually be placed on the ballot. So
I'm going to interrupt you right here and just remind our people that, so what she's saying is, while they were not officially nominated, they did make history. I just need to point that out, because what happens is we look at what didn't happen, and we sometimes forget to look at what did. So continue.
Thank you for that. Because I felt like it was really important to try to break a pathway open for other creators. We talked about that as a team. It's like, well, let's just go for this. It could happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But literally, to get on the ballot was like, a little hill we had to climb. But we made it, and we got on the ballot. And I have no idea, where how many votes or whatever we got. But we didn't get the nomination, which was okay. But I hope that the path will be easier for other audio creators coming next year and the year after, to really feel like they can submit. I mean, this year, the Golden Globes, for the first time, had a category for podcasts. I'd like to see that whole process be way more, what's the word?
Universal.
Yes, we'll use that word.
I'm with you, sis.
We're going to use universal.
We'll use that one. So that just in itself was amazing. And we also are nominated for 2 AMBY Awards, which in this world is our Oscars, right? And so that I got a text from Jana, and I was like, wait, what? It was totally shocked me, I guess. Not shocked that we could get the nomination, but I just wasn't thinking about it. I was just in my regular day. and I get this text, and it was just such a nice thing to know that we've been recognized by our peers in this community. You know, people who listen to podcasts day in and day out, and they decided to nominate us for Best Scripted Fiction and Best Script Writing. Jana. So it's really an honor. And, you know, of course, we want to take it home and win.
That's right.
And, you know, of course, we want that like anybody else.
I love it. And as a Black queer woman, I'm here for all of it. I just need to, like, you know, our representation is not monolithic. And so every time it's put in a place where we get to get the visibility that heteronormative things do, and people don't look at it because it's queer, it's looked at and it's queer, is a thing. Yes. So love that.
Thank you.
Tell me how y'all got the cast though. Like, come on, Ingenue, Rutina, like what? Danny Glover, Vanessa Wood, like what?
By hook or crook is what they say. We essentially had to take a number of unconventional methods to get the cast that we had because, you know, we are an independent project. Renee was, you know, essentially executive producing this by herself through her production company. And we didn't have representation or really much of a means to access these individuals. So we sent cold DMs, we harassed their reps, we reached out to friends of friends, you know, following the faintest thread of a degree of separation. And then one thing would always lead to another. And it took a long time to cast almost everybody. But once the actors got the material, it was an immediate yes. And so I think that's just a testament to staying resilient. And shout out to all the people who helped us get the cast.
It takes a village.
It really
does take a village to raise a project.
And you know what? That speaks to the power of relationship. Because Jana, you know, doing my research where you were talking about that and how you reached out to other people to reach out to people. But one thing that Jana is not talking about, and we're going to talk about that right now, is the pitch deck, because she was saying that everyone that is in this podcast was in her pitch deck. Now, let me tell y'all something. If you do not believe in the power of writing it down and putting it on paper and making it tangible, this is a perfect example of why you should do that, because when you do that, the likelihood of it happening goes up exponentially. So Jana, can you talk about when you initially put together your pitch deck and you put those particular actors in the pitch deck? What was your mindset at that particular moment?
I suppose, like, you know, the typical mindset of when one puts together a pitch deck, you don't necessarily, especially since I was about to do this in my closet, I wasn't necessarily thinking that I was going to get any of these people, but you sort of put your dream inspiration in the folks you could see embodying the role when you put together a pitch deck, regardless of whether or not you have an intention on casting them or reaching out to them. And so that's what I did. It wasn't until I sent it to Renee where she looked at it and said, oh, I think we can get these people, and took it very seriously. And it actually took me a while to take that seriously, even in the process as we're getting people. I'm like, I don't know. But Renee was pretty confident that we could get the people that we wanted, and get those people despite our limited knowledge on how to get them, despite the limited resources that we had at the time. I mean, and obviously she was right. We did get everybody essentially who was in the deck to be a part of the cast, but I wasn't intentionally manifesting per se, but you know, you put in the work and you dream, and it you know, eventually comes true.
Renee, as the EP on this and the person that like first believed in Jana and her story, then took that belief and made it tangible and real. Tell me how you feel watching the end result. Because like, as a creative, you believe in you, but sometimes we limit our belief because we limit our belief to where we can reach, right? What we can touch. So like Jana said, she was like, look, I was just making a deck so people thought it was nice and knew I wanted this type or this archetype, maybe not this person. So, you know, talk to me a little bit about what it was about Jana and her work that made you believe in her so much that you said, no, we can get these actual humans, and then did it.
Yeah, I'd only known Jana maybe a year, maybe less, a little less than a year. And we met through another a film competition where both of our projects won, and we both decided to decline the offer of the prize money and all that for various reasons. And so we ended up connecting over something that was quote unquote negative, but it actually brought us together because we didn't really talk like for a full year straight. It was like that happened, and then we didn't really talk until I got this email from Jana. And I'm someone who definitely believes in the power of creation and manifestation. And when you need something to happen and you want it to happen, you can figure out a way, make a way kind of person, and I dream big. I dream like visions, and I also read a lot of scripts. And so most of them are like, oh, okay, And so when I read something that catches me like in here and here, like all my chakras light up, I'm like, whoa, And also, in addition to the timing, because I also believe in God's timing, divine's timing, how universal timing, however you want to say that, is that I had also just maybe like a few months before, a couple months before, started my production company. And the whole point was to champion my own work, of course, and have a house for all the things that I do, but also to invest in and believe in and try to help amplify other women creators or just brilliant creators that I think their work should be in the world. So that all happened at the same time. Jana sent me that email as I was like just hit the last dot on like the logo, and so I was like, what's going to happen? And so I feel like that all came together very divinely. And I just did not have, I'd never second guessed the project. And I also think that just because, I've been in the business for a long time, I was like, oh, okay, well, who do I know who knows? I just started thinking differently. Like if I don't have the big check for the actors and I don't know their agent or whatever, I'm like, I do know such and such, and I do know this person. And Anjanou Ellis Taylor was the first person that said yes to us. And a lot of the women in the cast are queer Black women who never saw themselves represented fully, women who work all the time. And so she wasn't just going to say yes to me because, oh, I know Renee, so I'm going to say yes. I'm like, you're an Oscar-nominated actor, it's your work. But she really believed in the project. And so that was what I believed in. And so I continue to believe in the work, in Jana, the process, and what we could do together as a team.
I love it. I love it.
That's amazing. So Tribeca 2024, you guys win for Best Audio Storytelling. And I just want to read what the jury from Tribeca said. When we look to where storytelling can go, Red for Revolution is a shining example of where storytelling can actually go, which is amazing. Jana, when you first wrote this in 2017 as a graduate school thesis, did you think, and then the different iterations that it was in, because you said you had initially written it as a television pilot, then you were thinking about film, but of course, for all of those things, you need a massive amount of money. But then it lands where it does, and it does exceptionally well. So when you hear something like that from Tribeca, does it make it seem like it ended up where it was supposed to end up, with everything that happened and supposed roadblocks that turned out to be stepping stones? Because here you are, nominated for 2 AMBY Awards.
Wow, you both are amazing.
Oh, we tried.
You really did your research.
Yes, we do.
I've never thought about this before in my life.
We tried.
Plus, 2024 was a good Tribeca year because that was the year a lot of y'all Color Book. That was the first year Canva did their thing. Like I was in a bunch of things at Tribeca that year. That was a good year.
It was really such a dope year, especially for Black folks.
Yes, listen. The orange guy hadn't taken over the world yet. Good year.
The he who will not be named.
Right. No, the Tribeca experience was very special. And again, shout out to Renee because she really saw the vision in that as well. I didn't even want to apply. I didn't think we had enough time. We had to sort of, work at the last minute to get the episode 1 turned in, and even doing the app. I say this jokingly, but I'm being so serious. The application form in and of itself was a lot. So that on top of, putting the episode together.
It's not an easy one.
It is not.
Them essays be essaying.
The essays be essaying. Yes. So, so that all took a lot of work, and we had very limited time to pull it off. But again, Renee was really adamant in seeing that vision and believed that we could get in and ultimately win. And also shout out to Renee's son, Adrian, who has been manifesting for us, this entire time. But to your question of, how did it feel sort of coming full circle in this way? I really hadn't thought about it. What's actually I'm realizing in real time is that I didn't really pause to think about it. And even at Tribeca, everyone asked what was next. So you have the moment, and then you immediately start to have to hustle and figure out the next project and the next log line and sort of that thing. So it's almost like that success wasn't even real because what's the next one? And so it was in the moment, it was all really wonderful. It was a really wonderful experience. And it felt really sort of out of body, both attending Tribeca and, speaking on the panel there and then winning the award. Thankfully, that was documented. Shout out to Kevin. Talk about divine timing. We just so happened to have a friend present to record that moment because none of us thought to record it at all. And so that was also, unexpected and kind of out of body as well. And then it was okay, what are you doing now? What's the new thing? And so I sort of immediately went to the new thing and didn't even take the time to reflect on going back to 2017 and writing, the short film for the graduate school program, to then the TV pilot, to then doing the audio drama, and then working with so many incredible people. Renee's here, but our producer Liz McBee and our music director Tammy Hall and our sound designer Colin Thomas, and all of the wonderful cast members and everyone in between. It was really a dream come true, but a hustle and a grind, the entire time. So taking moments to reflect on what we've done and how amazing it is. I haven't done it as much as I should, but I appreciate the question so that I am able to reflect and really sit with that.
See, but I love the earnestness and the vulnerability in that answer, but I also challenge us as artists. Say what you will, but they let white people have their moment before they start pushing them for the next thing. And so what happens if we respond to what's next to, I'll let you know when it's ready, but for now I want to focus here. What happens if we flip that on them and then allow ourselves to take in the moment and the journey and the win in that moment? I think if we start putting that, we don't want to talk ourselves out of people thinking we have more. And I know how important the more is to getting the next job or the next opportunity, but we also have a right to be but you thought what I did now was really excellent, and that's why we're here. And so we're going to talk about that. And then we'll talk about what's next when it comes. What if we challenge them and ourselves to absorb and live in the moment? Then what? What they going to do? They're not going to take you off the panel. They can't walk you off the thing. So
she ain't gonna be on the panel no more.
They can't unwin the award. Shut it down.
You already gave it to me. You already gave it to me.
I say shut it down. What's next? We'll talk about that when we get to next, but I want to talk about what's here.
Go buy me a drink.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. I can tell you what's next when you get me on your calendar, but today.
Hello.
Right. I think that there's such this push for Black creatives to always have the next one in the chamber. And I get that. And I'm the person that has a slate full of stuff, right? So I get that. But I do think that at this time, especially in these times, we owe it to ourselves and to our collaborators to just be enjoying what is happening, because what's next, depending on what's going on in this whole rock we engaging in right now, may not happen or may not come when we think so. And I mean, in 2016, this was what was next, right? And now look, right? So I love you learning in real time. Oh, wait, I got something to celebrate. And it's great. And it's, you know what I mean? Like it's a great piece. And it really does help a lot of us that want to see bigger and better queer content from all of the angles and years, because we didn't just get here. Like, I know that we did for everybody else, but like, this didn't start yesterday.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that reframe. I'm actually going to put that in my pocket and use it probably every other week.
It's free. Low, low price of $3.99.
There you go. I mean, y'all family now.
Yeah, girl.
Once you come on the show,
that's it. It's a wrap.
Let me tell you something. We don't say yes to everybody.
We do not.
We may not be out here doing the numbers that others are doing, but people that pay attention to us trust us. Right. We are very, very critical about who, what, where, and why.
Yes.
So y'all family now.
That is the absolute truth.
And whatever you both have next, when we get to that point, we are here to help you support it and to promote it, because once you're here once, then you're family, and we're always here to support the things that you guys have going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But Renee, I want to switch gears for a second, because again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard Renee Wilson sing, you are doing yourself a disservice. And I would just say, go on Instagram and just click play. And she did a cover for one of my favorite songs by Bonnie Raitt, "I Can't Make You Love Me." That thing damn near had me in tears.
Listen,
unbelievable.
And there's been so many covers of that, but I will say your version is uncannily beautiful.
I was standing in my bedroom.
Like, at this point, is you. I have to say, at this point, is you and Tank.
Yeah.
Tank's version of that Tank's version is crazy too.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, there's Bonnie, right? Like, there's Bonnie,
of course.
But then, like, in remake worlds,
that
was wow.
Yeah.
Because the Tank version, the first time I heard the Tank version, I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
But ma'am, your choices.
Yeah.
Making something yours, and as a singer, your choices. Yeah. Because we live in a world where if there's 18 runs and vocal acrobat, God forbid you ask one of these babies to hold a straight note.
That's an entirely different podcast.
Well, there's that.
But making the choices that you make, the things you do with your voice, it's a beautiful thing. You are extremely talented.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Wow. You both. I'm overwhelmed by that.
I was standing in my bedroom like, no, she didn't.
Did you cry, Floyd? Be honest.
I did. I'm a crier, and I was moved. I was very moved because it's such a beautiful song.
No, it is.
And every time been in a relationship,
it has helped me through many a breakup.
Right. And if you've ever been in a relationship, you've been to that point, even if your relationship is successful. You've been to that "I can't make you love me" point.
And sometimes you're the person that they can't make love them. So like sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's you.
Right. So you know what? I got to get to the question.
Thank y'all.
Again, your voice is amazing. So what was it like playing Lorraine Giovanni? And how did you end up becoming Lorraine Giovanni? I mean, was that the character once you read the script and you said, oh, you know what, I can get down with this? Was that the character that you gravitated towards?
Well, actually, I actually just came on as an executive producer and a creative producer. And so in the beginning, I wasn't playing anybody. Like that was not, I mean, obviously, I actually loved them both. I loved Ella. I loved that side, of me as an actor. But I also love, I'm going to say Lena, but I also love Lorraine. And so it was just kind of an evolution, as we as we started thinking about casting and all the things started coming together. And I was really like, throw my hat in the ring for this, but it really wasn't a given. I didn't come on thinking I was going to just automatically, get to play somebody. And it was like kind of a back and forth thing for a while. And then I just felt like I was drawn to her, just her issues and her life, her, her beauty, her relationships, her relationships to song and how serious she took the songs in her life, and just her the way she felt about Ella, and watching her politics change over the course of the season. And I don't know, it was close, but I felt like she really resonated for me in a way that, like Alina Horn resonated for me, and a lot of the women that the character was inspired by. And so that's how I became. Jana may have her own piece to add about it. Plus the opportunity for me if I get to sing and act, I mean, that's just like cream of the crop.
I tell people that all the time. I tell people that all the time. When you are a singer and an actor and somebody tells you, hey, you can do both at one time, check this out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that really put Lena in pole position for me. Lorraine.
And Jana, how was it to direct not just Renee, but to direct the series? Like, especially because as a film director, as a person who directs kind of across different disciplines, like, how was it to direct this? But how was it also to direct this in relation to other mediums that you may do? Because it's directing audio and voiceover is a little different.
Yeah, that's a really good question. What would I say is really different about it? Well, actually, the approach that we had wasn't too dissimilar from, working on film, simply because we, all of the actors were fully committed and really embodied. So they weren't coming in sort of like to do, like an animation or something where they're just using their voice as an instrument. Everybody's using their entire bodies and performing as if they were like on stage, essentially. So maybe it's actually more akin to performing for the stage, but so it wasn't too dissimilar from other mediums in terms of the approach to directing, which may or may not, I mean, the show ended up great, but I don't know if that hurt or helped the project really. I don't think everyone has that approach. But since everybody was really embodied, that lent itself to really full and deep performances. And like the awkward pauses and the silences and the beats that we have in the show really came about because all of the actors were fully invested and committed to portraying the characters in their fullness, as opposed to just lending one of their instruments. And then as it relates to sort of directing this cast, and I've told this story before, but I mentioned going in really small initially because, we're working with people who've been in the business longer than I've been alive. So I really had to like hype myself up and ground myself each and every time. And sort of as we approached the end of the recording sessions, I definitely felt better and a lot more confident towards the end. But in the beginning, I couldn't believe what we were doing and that I was doing it at all. And so, trying new things and not really knowing if any of your ideas or anything that you want to do is the right thing at all, because I hadn't tested it to know. And then, it all worked out. So that was really wonderful. And then working with Renee in particular, was really interesting because she's playing both, she's singing and acting. And we were talking about this the other day, Renee showing up to the recording sessions, not just to perform the songs, but she's in character even during the music recording sessions. And essentially going back and forth singing. And she had to sing a lot of songs in one day because her flight got canceled. And so she didn't get to spend as much time in the studio as the rest of us. And I think she missed a full day of recording. And so she had to record all of the songs. And we also didn't always have the band, because we didn't have the full band when Renee came on board. So in any case, so she had to perform these songs back to back in a very short window of time. And so, episode 1, Lorraine is very excited and she's just met Ella and she's singing Revolution and she's down for the cause. And then, in episode 2, she's doing Never Will I Marry and, basically wants to kill somebody. And then she's like doing Stormy Weather and like really sad. And then, Sending the Clowns and it's even more sad. And she's like, essentially the character in each episode back to back. And that was really funny because I would hate having to go into the studio and tell her, so this is where this character is now. She's in a very tough mental space. So if you could please go there. I literally hated doing that. But she was really committed and invested. And that was really wonderful to see. And I also learned that I generally hate having to tell actors to do something difficult or like emotionally tough. And I don't know if other directors feel the same way, but I would feel so bad every time it came time for them to deliver in that capacity.
And remind me, Jana, did you have an acting place in your life as well at some point?
Not that I claim.
I only ask that because as a director, like, I guess when you're an actor turned director, you're like, I don't feel bad. This is the job. Like, there's a way to do it, of course. But I'm like, oh, that's so nice. She felt bad about that. Like, oh, that's
It's like, oh, girl, look at you.
right. And I'm like, look at you. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, so this is what you get. Like,
yeah, no, I would feel bad. And I think actors are a little different. Yeah.
Actors that show up to do the work and are committed to the craft, showing off how you can flip is a thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, low key, we'd be like, no, it's not right. And then so like
I did that.
Right. Yes. Like, listen. There is a moment in your career or in your work where you did it, be like, you did it. And it's like, you may keep it to yourself because nobody likes a braggadocious, like, annoying person. But also, there's not enough time for people, like I said, like we said before, right? Making space for us to be like, no, I did that.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I loved that you were tepid about that, but I love that you still had to do it and did it because as a director, you got to do what you got to do for the sake of the work.
Right.
And, Renee was probably like, girl, all right. And then she did, and she banged it out. And then you were like, yes. Like,
But you're right. I mean, I love that you said that because I did have a different experience of that. Like, I was calling her in, okay, Jana, we had the book in front of us, we had the script in front of us. I knew that we didn't have a lot of time, and so I already came in knowing I was going to have to go to many different places emotionally, right? And I couldn't just sing the song because we're telling a story, so it has to fit the narrative.
We're also a singer, so you know that every song is a story, not some lyrics.
Yes, I don't ever sing a song just like
I'm like, so there's
whatever.
that.
You're right. You're right. Thank you. But I would call her in. I'm like, okay. So what's going on here? Like blah blah blah. And we would kind of have our talks as I was preparing to kind of move into the next song. And I don't know. By the time Sending the Clowns, I was like, okay. I mean,
but we didn't get tired.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful though. Like when you actually hear. I don't know the amount of I don't know how to explain it, but it just really came from such an open, honest place for me, for me and from me. Yeah, I think it comes across in the actual piece.
Yes, there's a lot. It's alive. There's so much life that has been lived to get to that part of the song, to get to that part of the piece, to get to that song and like deliver. Because everybody can't sing Sending the Clowns.
No. They can't. They can't.
Because sometimes, people do stuff and then you sit there with that Mariah Carey at the Grammys face. Like,
oh, that was hard to watch. Mariah is a shade.
I did not watch it, so I'm going to.
I only saw the highlights, but honey, there was nothing outside of Kelly. There wasn't a lot of high in the lights.
Oh wow,
she doesn't like people singing her music anyway.
But she's not an easy thing. Listen, that's like when people used to sing Whitney when they would do these. Back when Whitney had tributes, that's when singers were singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
to replay that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch those clips. But we are getting close to the end, and I have like 2 more cards of questions. I'm not gonna get to them all.
He never gets so don't feel bad. He always has 50-11 questions, and that's why we love him because you guys are definitely coming back.
We'll come back.
Yeah, but you know what? As I was listening, because I've listened to 4 episodes. I tried to do 6, but again, we were talking earlier, and I had to do what I had to do because, you know, I brought something back from Sundance with me, but that's another story. But the episode that I was listening to today, where Ella flew to Los Angeles, and what struck me about Lorraine and Ella was their confident in confidence. They were so assured, Lorraine in her singing and Ella in her activism. But when it came to each other, their footing was extremely unsure. They just kind of didn't know where to be. Should I be vulnerable? Should I not? So can you, Jana, talk about the dynamic of the writing when you're writing those characters and they're doing this dance around each other, and they're two very accomplished, confident women, but when it comes to loving each other, they were kind of stumbling over each other a little bit. I don't want to get too much away because I want people to go listen, but that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, that's a really great question as well. I feel as though their sort of dynamic is in some ways fairly true to life in that sense, our ability to be confident in one area and then the complete opposite in another. And they have a lot, there are a lot of sort of systems against them that they are fighting against, both consciously and subconsciously, that make, you know, their ability to come together difficult. And then they have their sort of internal conflict that's making that difficult. And then they have the logistical dynamic of being on separate coasts that's making their dynamic difficult as well. And so when you sort of put all that together and you're forced to face it, in a short moment of time too. So, you know, they're at the house together for this brief trip, and they have to sort of address all of the things that have been boiling for all this time. And it's a very, I guess I was sort of observing human nature in the sense of our various personalities and where we show up one way versus where we show up in another place, and wanting to write something that sort of dealt with vulnerability in like a very, what's the word? They're really forced to be vulnerable, because the episode you're talking about, they're like literally naked. I mean, it's an audio show, so you can't like see this.
Well, I'm sorry.
Here,
yes,
though.
you could. Yes, you. Let
Here.
me stop you right there, because that writing was so phenomenal. When she was talking to her about removing certain garments, and I'm not going to go into detail, you actually could see, not in a lustful type of way, but in an intimate type of way, because they were being very intimate. So you know, for me, I could see that scene.
I love that so much. Yeah. And we really worked hard with our amazing sound designer, Colin Gerald Thomas, to sort of make the show come to life. So I'm glad, you know, that third eye is really working for people when they're listening to the show. But so yeah, they're forced to be vulnerable and forced to address, you know, all of these conflicts while literally being naked. And sort of, you know, that the vulnerability in nudity in and of itself lends itself to confrontation in one way or another, whether it's positive or negative. And so all of that sort of boils to the surface. But yeah, and so when I was writing it, I kind of wanted to explore, and not for nothing, a number of what I was writing about sort of has a historical precedent. And there were a number of queer women at the time in these various relationship dynamics, whether actually queer or platonic, because there were a lot of Black women, entertainers in particular, who knew each other and just couldn't get along. And, you know, that's another podcast episode in and of itself. And so exploring the barriers to connection and to love, both platonically and romantically, was something that I was interested in. And, you know, that episode in particular was a way to dive into all of that.
Nice.
Amazing.
Listen, it's nothing like when the details make the difference. So kudos to all of it, right? The execution on the actor's part, the sound design, your writing, like it's all amalgamation of good stuff that just makes good stuff.
Yeah. So I got one more question. If you don't have any, Okema, I got one more.
I mean, I do, but I think you should ask yours. No, go for it.
No. You go ahead.
We got 8 minutes, brother. Ask
girl.
your question.
Okay, Renee. I watched Honey Pot last night, and I watched a 20-minute excerpt from the show, and I was struck by the similarities between Red for Revolution and Honey Pot. And this is what I mean. The gatekeeping with sexual discrimination and sexual misconduct, because we have two queer Black women basically kind of having to hide who they are because of the time and, you know, the place. Being in Hollywood at that time, you know, it was kind of, okay, we know, but we don't know. And then fast forwarding to Honey Pot with the character that you were portraying going on an audition and being told, well, I'll give you this part, but there are certain things that you have to do in order to get it. And it was amazing, the connection for me, that all of these women are dealing with basically a suppression of who they are. You know, the manager's trying to suppress you and saying the only way that I'm going to let you blossom and thrive is if you do a certain thing. And with Lorraine and Ella, we can't fully be who we are because this is the way society has it set up. Did you make that connection? I mean, you know, my mind goes really strange places sometimes. And that was the connection that I made actually watching that excerpt from your One Woman show.
Well, first of all, thank you for even bringing it up or watching it. I appreciate that. That was done several years ago and was inspired by some of my own experiences in the business when I was a young actress and just trying to navigate my place in Hollywood, you know. And I actually have not thought about that as how it relates to Red for Revolution, but for sure the characters, and I'll just speak for the character of Lorraine, definitely was encountering those similar situations where no matter how huge she was or global star or whatever, somebody at the studio, you know, is trying her, and you know, and she's got the, you know, her people looking at her to be a role model and all the different pressures that come with trying to be true to yourself, but then also true to your art, and where those things either line up or don't. And Ella, you know, had her own issues, just not even being able to like get into a school or just whatever barriers that have nothing to do with our talent, our perspective, our activism, anything. So it's actually really interesting to think about those two. I mean, I guess there are things that I am drawn to as a creative, at what lights me up and stories that I want to tell. And I really am dedicated to shining light on things that I feel need a light shown on them.
Okay,
nice. I mean, kudos to you both for just telling stories that aren't the standard, but set a standard, if that makes sense. And for being kind of bold and brave about that, because, you know, it's easy to do the things that we know are commercial and could be commercially successful off the bat, right? Mm-hmm. But both of you in your respective and collective work have chosen to lend your voice to people, places, and things that aren't always at the forefront, and have done it with the success to let us know that those stories matter to everyone. Because, like, I don't care if it's two women, two men, a man and a woman, two people that don't go by either. Like, interaction and human personality and intersectionality of one person with another person's life is universal. And Absolutely. The more that you all tell these stories in this way, so thoughtful, so vulnerable, so open, so visceral, so visual, the more that people are able to glean that and remember that whatever your preferences, whatever your predilections are, is irrelevant. Life is life, and it'd be life for everybody. Mm-hmm. And so congratulations on being another space for our voices in the various ways that they tell our stories.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been absolutely amazing. So I'm sorry, Jana, please.
No, I was just saying thank you. This has really been life-giving.
Okay, well.
Yes, I'm really glad that you two agreed to speak with us and that we
Girl.
were able to share space and hear. And thank you for listening to our show. That means every listener really means a lot to us. And so, yeah, I'm just really grateful to now know you both.
Absolutely.
Same.
So please tell us where we can listen to Red for Revolution, where we can follow you both, and where people can buy that new album, Miss Renee Wilson.
Well, you can listen to Red for Revolution on all audio platforms, on mostly all of them. Audible, I'm sorry, not Audible, Apple's, Spotify's, all the things.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're an Podcast Academy voter, we would appreciate your consideration of our show for Best Scripted Fiction and Best Script Writing. Thank you very much. And we also love doing in-person listening events. So if somebody wants us to, do an event or come to their school or institution and just talk about a lot of the themes that are in the project, we want to move the needle and to contribute to our evolution as a community. And where else? You can find me at reneewilson.org, and I'm Renee M. Wilson on Instagram, and you can buy my album or listen to my album on all the streaming platforms. It's called Divine Ratio of Love.
Do yourself a favor and go listen to that. That joint is tight. That's a Philly word. That joint is tight. And Jana, I'm sorry. I'm just butchering this name. Jana, where can people find you?
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm on social media at an account that I don't know the handle to. Look up my name, Jana Smith, on Instagram. I should learn that as well. Wow, you all are teaching me so much about myself today. I have a website, though, jananaomismith.com. So if you go to that website, you can find me at my social channels. I have a Patreon called Relatively Conscious. And then I also host monthly events here in LA, illuminating the works of various literary ancestors. And so you can check out my social media and all that to stay up to date on those things as well. And yeah, Red for Revolution on all streaming platforms. AMBY voting closes February 5th. So of course, we'd appreciate your consideration. And we'll be in New York this month. I was going to say next month in a few weeks.
Because I am based in Brooklyn.
Oh, sweet. Oh, yeah.
So
we're going to be
Philadelphia.
there.
Come on now.
You're going to have to drive up. We're going to be there on the 23rd. So the AMBY Awards are on the 23rd.
In Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, please, let's make sure that we connect. We actually just had Queer Cinema House at Gladys in Brooklyn a week ago. So there's all kind of things that Brooklyn is the happening place in New York these days.
It is.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah, we want to do an event, so we should talk.
Gladys is a queer and lesbian owned and operated bookstore, but we just did two sets of live readings. My project and Sakia Dorset's project at Gladys. We did a live stage reading of both short films for her company, her podcast, her new podcast coming out called Queer Cinema House. So yes, there's all kinds of things going on.
I love it.
And Gladys in my mind, I was like, they should do a listening session at Gladys. So yes, we will.
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself, Jana Naomi Smith, Renee Wilson, and Okema T Moore on a conversation with. We hope that you have enjoyed this last hour because it has been absolutely phenomenal talking to these dynamic ladies. And again, Renee, it was such a pleasure connecting with you in Sundance. And as I said earlier, God don't make no mistakes, because this has been such an amazing conversation. I have made 2 new, amazing, phenomenal friends. And in this business, that is always a blessing. And it is always a plus when you meet real people and you meet people that just have genuinely beautiful souls. And the two of you, it just emanates from you. So I'm so happy that we actually got to sit down and chat. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself and this beautiful panel of phenomenally dynamic women. And we will end it as we always do. Love it like a hobby,
treat it like
a business. And on that note, everyone have an absolutely amazing, amazing night. Peace. Don't go anywhere, ladies.
No, don't log off yet.